Welcome to Business Exit Success, the podcast dedicated to helping small business owners on how they can successfully transition out of their business on their terms while also living a life of purpose and fulfillment after the sale. I am your host, certified financial planner and certified exit planning advisor, Tom Poltersdorf. Hey everyone, we are back with another episode and talking about risk today. Now, there are many different forms of risk, and I'll assume that many of the business owners and entrepreneurs that listen to this podcast are risk takers. That's a fair assumption given that you most likely have gone out on your own to start a business X number of years ago, or have taken the risk of buying into and joining a business. And then naturally, as we get older, we become more conservative. Not for everybody, but most people, this is what happens in my experience. With business owners, many continue to be risk takers even later in life with their business because it's what you live and breathe every single day. You've mastered your craft, you are an expert in your industry, and you know how to navigate it to your benefit. And then you sell and transition out of your business, hopefully leaving you with a very large lump of cash in your bank account, from high six figures to multiple millions sitting in your personal checking account. And this is where the game changes. What do you do next? How do you go about thinking through what to do with this money? Now, it is my hope that before you go about putting your business on the market, you've done the planning in advance and already know what you're going to do when you receive that bucket of money, or at least you have a good idea. One of the biggest variables to know is how much are you going to need after taxes from the sale of your business to support your lifestyle going forward. Because the last thing you want is to go ahead, put your business on the market, it sells, and after the taxes and fees are taken out, you discover you don't have enough money to live on, meaning you have to go back to work. That is the worst case scenario, so do your personal financial planning beforehand. Okay, so back to what do you do with this bucket of money that's sitting in your bank account, and how should you think about risk? You may have heard the term risk tolerance, which is the level of risk you are willing to take or what you think your comfort level is with seeing fluctuations in any market. So that could be the stock market, real estate, doesn't matter. As an example, if I asked you on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you are 100% guaranteed to never lose any money, and a 10 being you are going to Vegas and willing to put everything you got on black, where do you think you'd fall between 1 to 10? It's a very easy way to get an idea of where someone thinks their risk tolerance is. So I've had people tell me they are an 8 or a 9, which means they're comfortable putting their money in more growth-oriented investments. They're comfortable taking a higher level of risk, seeing their investment go up and down with the stock market. If you told me you were a 2, then you are not comfortable with the big swings in the market, and you prefer investment vehicles that are more steady and that don't go up and down as much. Now, here's the problem. The risk tolerance approach, and what I found out over the years working with people on figuring this out with their money, many people don't know their true comfort level with risk until they are actually in it or have had an experience through a market cycle where they have seen their personal money drop significantly. I've had folks who told me they are a 9 on the 1 to 10 scale, which means they thought they were aggressive and okay with risk, but when their investments significantly dropped, like when COVID was at its peak, they were so emotionally involved they wanted to sell out. So asking the 1 to 10 risk scale question, or even taking a questionnaire to assess your risk level, is almost useless. The better way to think through this is assign a timeline to 3 buckets. The first bucket is cash, which is short term, 1 to 2 years, and in an account that you can access very quickly and that won't go down when the market goes down. Bucket 2 is income, with a time frame of 3 to 5 years, usually invested in short-term investments that still grow, but would not fluctuate nearly as much as the stock market. Bucket 3 is the growth bucket, which is greater than 5 years, otherwise known as your long-term bucket, which is usually in things like the stock market that will go up and down, but over the long term, statistically have a higher chance of growing. When you think through it this way, you are assigning a role and purpose for each dollar you have. So rather than guessing what your risk tolerance is and investing your money to that guess, you assign portions of your dollars to the 3 risk buckets with a specific purpose. And what you end up having is balanced exposure to all the risk levels. So conservative, moderate, and growth. Now, some people think they go into retirement, we cannot have any volatility. We can't afford to take any risk. And that's simply not true. To make sure someone doesn't outlive their money, to make sure they have the ability to live the lifestyle they desire and not lose the value of their dollars to inflation, most of the time there needs to be a bucket with a goal for growth. I said this at the end of my last episode. Get your planning done early before you go down the path of transitioning out of your business. Understanding what that next chapter of your life will look like personally and financially will put you in the best position for business exit success. Hey everybody, real quick before you take off, if you found this episode helpful in any way, please rate the podcast and leave a review. I would love to get your feedback and see if there are any topics you'd like to hear more about going forward. Thank you, and I appreciate you all very much.